once again note Mr Speaker's disappointment about briefing to the media before important announcements are brought to this House. This is based on the Government's own rules in its ministerial code. As the Public Administration and Constitutional Affairs Committee recently stated, making the most important statements in the first instance to Parliament means doing so before they are made to the media and not at the first available opportunity thereafter. The Government either needs to adhere to its own rules or change them. I call the Secretary of State.
Madam Deputy Speaker, please allow me to begin by saying that the unauthorised leaking of elements of today's announcement is deeply regrettable. I have already asked officials to launch a full investigation into the source to ensure that such breaches do not happen again. With permission, Madam Deputy Speaker, I will now make a statement to update the House on this Government's work to transform education in this country. Because childhood is changing. Our children are growing up in a world of ever-increasing connectivity and communication. But uncertainty and mistrust are on the rise too. Our children have the curiosity, the resilience and the enterprise to succeed. But a vision for education that stops at the school gates has failed to deliver the opportunities that they need. Under the last government, absence was at historic highs. Despite the heroic efforts of staff, the disadvantage gap is still stubbornly wide. Children with SEND still sidelined. Bright pupils still left to drift along. A system of high standards for some, but not for others, is not good enough. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, high standards and inclusion must go hand in hand. The last government's vision for education was too narrow. No school is an island. And for children to do well, we need to look outside as well as inside the classroom. We need to rebuild the services on which families rely. That's why we've acted fast, beginning to remove the stain of child poverty, rolling out free breakfast clubs, expanding free school meals and removing the two-child limit. I am deeply proud that this Labour government will have lifted more than 500,000 children out of poverty by 2030. We've also delivered the expansion of 30 hours of government-funded childcare. We're rolling out Best Start family hubs and we'll fund a SEND practitioner in every hub. And now, today, we go further. We're publishing our schools white paper, a vision for schools not as a standalone, but at the heart of happy and healthy childhoods. For every child, a great local school. A school of ambition and achievement. A school filled with sport, music, drama. A school of high standards and inclusion. And let there be no doubt, standards will rise for all children. Those born under this Labour government will, on average, leave school with a grade 5 or higher across their GCSEs. And I will not have higher standards for some while others are left behind. The disadvantage gap was as stark in 2024 as a decade before. And now, Madam Deputy Speaker, we will cut it in half. We'll boost the impact of the pupil premium and the national funding formula, consulting on better targeting. And we'll deliver 3 big shifts in our schools. The first, from narrow to broad, capturing the true breadth of opportunity, starting before children even reach the classroom with our Best Start family hubs. To improve the transition into reception, we'll establish partnerships between early years and schools, and staff will work together to help children settle. School days will be energised by a broad and rich curriculum, the knowledge and the skills for all of our young people to succeed. And we'll consult on measuring attainment and progress, improving the Progress 8 measure to strengthen the academic core and to support students to pursue subjects which strengthen our economy and our society, like drama, art and design, if that is the route that they want to take. High expectations and standards for all, and nowhere more so than reading. The ability to read opens up a world of opportunity, and falling behind locks too many children out of learning. So our new Year 8 reading test will help them to stay on track. But currently, Madam Deputy Speaker, too many children are sidelined, held back, their needs not met. We know the biggest challenges are concentrated in some communities. And that's why we'll launch and fund 2 place-focused education missions, Mission North East and Mission Coastal. We will transform the life chances of local young people and draw a blueprint for national change, an education system that works for every child. And that's why our second shift from sidelined to included, to inject excellence and rigour into the learning of every child. But as a society, we have let those expectations slip for children with special educational needs and disabilities. Now, members across this House, we all know that our SEND system isn't working. They've heard it from their constituents, parents who are tired of fighting, fed up with sending their children out of their communities to have their needs met, angry that their child's future is being written off. Madam Deputy Speaker, parents and children have been failed, and they have been failed for too long. That is the reality that this government inherited from the Conservatives. A system that was designed with the best of intentions, but one that became lose, 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 in the words of my predecessor, because of the choices and then the inaction of the party opposite. A system that drove local councils again and again to put process above people. Support was stripped away, forcing parents to run a legal gauntlet for what should have been their child's by right. Support that all too often just didn't materialise, and today that changes. Madam Deputy Speaker, we will fix the SEND system once and for all. Yeah. Today is a realisation of those children's rights, the right to high expectations and outcomes and the support to fulfil them. Far more local children going to school with their friends in their local communities close to home. Better for them, and evidence suggests better for the whole class too. Yep. Over the next 3 years, we'll invest more than £1.6 billion to strengthen the mainstream inclusion offer. And for those children whose needs cannot be met through universal support, there will now be 3 further layers of support: targeted, targeted plus and specialist, available from day one when a child needs them. Schools will now have a statutory duty to record and monitor each child's special needs and provision in an individual support plan. We will fortify mainstream provision with our new National Experts at Hand initiative, backed by £1.8 billion of new investment. Educational psychologists, occupational and speech and language therapists in our schools supporting our teachers, benefiting our children. And earlier this month, we announced huge investment in school buildings too. So every secondary school will have an inclusion base, a dedicated space to bridge the gap between mainstream and specialist provision. Because this is about improving support, not removing support. Children with the most complex needs will still have access to education, health and care plans, derived from a specialist provision package of support designed by experts. And we know that insightful, holistic inclusion happens when schools share their expertise and their resources. So we'll strengthen school strategic SEND partnerships, with every school becoming part of a local SEND group. Our new national inclusion standards will set out clear evidence-based guidance for support. To restore parents' trust in the system, we'll improve the mediation and school complaints process, making the SEND Tribunal the genuine mechanism of last resort. And we'll give the Children's Commissioner a new remit to oversee our SEND reforms. I also want to thank every parent, every organisation and every group that has taken part in our national conversation on SEND. And I also want to take this opportunity, Madam Deputy Speaker, to pay tribute to my humble friends from Newcastle upon Tyne North and Queen's Park and Maida Vale for driving forward that work. But this isn't the end of the conversation, and I urge everyone to get involved as today we launch our national SEND consultation. To parents, carers, support staff, teachers, experts and leaders, I ask you to work with us. We're building a system for children with SEND that will be unrecognisable from what came before. And we're putting in the investment, the care and the time to get this right, with a smooth transition from 2030. Madam Deputy Speaker, schools need engagement from without as well as within, communities coming together to support every child. So our final shift will be from withdrawn to engaged. We need